Lesson 2 of Module 9 in first quarter. Solve problems involving quadratic functions. Quadratic functions have so many real-life applications. In answering word problems, you need to read and visualize the scenario, identify the given information, identify what is being asked, assign variables, mathematical expression or equation, and solve. And then check your answers. Example number 1. A boy threw a stone upward going to the water. In meters, the height of the stone, h at t, above the water after t seconds that it was thrown, is a function given by the equation h at t is equal to negative 2t squared plus 12t minus 10. What was the maximum height of the stone? Let us write first the function into vertex form. Factor out negative 2 from the terms with x. Negative 2t squared divided by negative 2 is t squared. 12t divided by negative 2 is negative 6t. Make t squared minus 6t a perfect square trinomial by adding 9. That is from the formula b over 2 being raised to 2. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Negative 3 times itself is 9. Negative 2 times 9 is negative 18. We have added negative 18 to the equation. So let us add 18 to the equation so that there will be no effect to the value of the equation. ht is equal to negative 2 times the square of t minus 3 plus 8. The vertex is 3, 8. So the maximum height in meters is 8. When did the stone reach its maximum height? Because the vertex is 3, 8, it reached its maximum height 3 seconds after the stone was thrown. Looking at the graph, y is 8 when x is 3. What was the height of the stone after 4 seconds? Substitute 4 to t. Mali. How many seconds it took the stone to hit the water? Since hitting the water shows 0 meter height of the stone above the water, we will substitute 0 to h at t. 0 is equal to negative 2 times the square of t minus 3 plus 8. To solve for t, add negative 8 to both sides. 0 plus negative 8 is negative 8, and 8 plus negative 8 is 0. Divide both sides by negative 2. Negative 8 divided by negative 2 is positive 4. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is positive 1. Get the square root of both sides. Square root of 4 is 2. The square root of the square of t minus 3 is t minus 3. Add 3 to both sides. So negative 3 plus 3 is 0. And 2 plus 3 is 5. After 5 seconds, the stone hit or reached the water. Example number 2. A rocket is launched from the ground. The height of the rocket after the time it is launched is expressed by the function h of t is equal to negative 1 half t squared plus 6t plus 32. When did the rocket reach its maximum height? Let us rewrite first the function into vertex form. Factor out negative 1 half from the terms with x. Negative 1 half outside the parentheses. Negative 1 half t squared divided by negative 1 half is t squared, and 6t divided by negative 1 half is negative 12t. To check if this is correct, you can multiply. Negative 1 half times t squared is negative 1 half t squared, and negative 1 half times negative 12t is 6t. Now, make t squared minus 12t a perfect square trinomial by adding the square of half of b. b is negative 12. Negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. Times itself, positive 36. Adding 36 inside the parentheses is like adding negative 18 to the equation. So add 18 to the equation so that the value will not be changed. The binomial is t minus 6 because the square root of t squared is t and the square root of 36 is 6. So the vertex is 650. So the maximum height is 50 meters. When did the rocket reach its maximum height? Because the vertex has coordinates 6 and 50, it reached its maximum height 6 seconds after the rocket has launched. X-axis represents the time and y-axis contains the height. After 6 seconds, it reached 50 meters. What was the height of the rocket after 8 seconds? Substitute 8 to t in the general form or in the vertex form of the quadratic function. Anyway, you will get the same answer. 8 squared is 64. 64 times negative 1 half is negative 32. 48 plus 32 is 80. 80 plus negative 32 is 48. Therefore, the height of the rocket after 8 seconds is 48 meters. How many seconds it took the rocket to reach the ground? Since reaching the ground shows 0 meter height of the rocket above the ground, we will substitute 0 to h at t. To solve t, add negative 50 to both sides. 0 plus negative 50 is negative 50. 50 plus negative 50 is 0. To have the square of t minus 6 alone in one side, multiply both sides by negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2 divided by 2 is positive 1. Negative 2 times negative 50 is 100. Get the square root of both sides. Square root of 100 is positive or negative 10. And the square of t minus 6 is t minus 6. We will disregard negative 10 because later we will get a negative answer and there's no negative time. So you will just have positive 10. Now add 6 to both sides. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0. 10 plus 6 is 16. It means after 16 seconds, the rocket reached the ground. Example number 3. The length of a rectangular lot is 8 meters more than twice of its width. What are the possible dimensions of the rectangular lot if its area is 42 square meters? The length is 8 meters more than twice of the width. So length is equal to 2w plus 8. The area is length times width. Therefore, the area is the product of 2w plus 8 and w. Since we are looking for possible dimensions that give an area of 42 square meters, then the function is 42 is equal to the product of 2w plus 8 and w. Distribute w. W times 2w is 2w squared. 8 times w is 8w. Now subtract 42 from both sides to make the equation equal to 0. 42 minus 42 is 0. To simplify the equation, divide both sides by the common factor of the terms, and that is 2. 2w squared divided by 2 is w squared. 8w divided by 2 is 4w, and 42 divided by 2 is negative 21. Find factors of negative 21 whose sum is positive 4. And they are 7 and negative 3. Now, equate each factor to 0. W plus 7 is equal to 0. So, W is equal to negative 1. W minus 3 is equal to 0. So, W is 3. Since there's no negative distance, we disregard negative 7. So, the width is 3 meters. Substitute it to length is equal to 2W plus 8. 2 times 3, 6 plus 8, 14. So the length is 14 meters. To check if your answer is correct, multiply 14 meters and 3 meters. And that is 42 square meters. Example number 4. Mang Jose will use fencing material that is 60 meters long to fence his rectangular lot whose one side is leaning on the wall. What is the possible maximum area of the lot? What should be the dimension so that he will have the maximum area of the lot? Given the 60-meter long material, we will subtract twice of the width from it to get the length. The formula for the area is length times width. So the equation is area is equal to the product of 60 minus 2w and w. Now distribute w. W times 60 is 60w. W times negative 2w is negative 2w squared. Factor out negative 2. Negative 2w squared divided by negative 2 is w squared. 60w divided by negative 2 is negative 30w. Make w squared minus 30w a perfect square trinomial by adding the square of half of b. Our b here is negative 30 divided by 2, and that is negative 15. The square of negative 15 is 225. We added 450 to the equation because when we added 225, we actually added the product of negative 2 and 225. That is negative 450. Rewrite w squared minus 30w plus 225 as a square of binomial. So our equation is the area is negative 2 times the square of w minus 15 plus 450. Since the vertex has coordinates 15 and 450, The possible maximum area is 450 square meters when the width is 15 meters. To check, you may assign values of W below and above 15 meters. When you substitute 5, you will get 250 square meters because 2 times 5 is 10, 60 minus 10 is 50, and 50 times 5 is 250. When you substitute 10, you will get an area of 400 square meters. When you substitute 15, you will get 450 square meters. If you substitute 20, you will get 400 square meters. And when you substitute 25, you will get 250 square meters. So, it is 15 meters that will give us an area of 415 square meters. Example number 5. The sum of the two numbers is 60. What are the numbers that will give a maximum product? Let one number be n and the other number be 60 minus n, because 60 minus n plus the other number, which is n, is equal to 60. If p at n is the product of the two numbers, then p at n is equal to n times the quantity 60 minus n. Distribute n. N times 60, 60n. N times negative n squared. Use commutative property, so we interchange the two terms. Factor out negative 1. Negative n squared divided by negative 1 is n squared. 60n divided by negative 1 is negative 60n. To make n squared minus 60n a perfect square trinomial, add the square of half of b. Negative 60 divided by 2 is negative 30, and negative 30 times negative 30 is 900. Adding 900 inside the parenthesis is like adding negative 900. That's why we add 900 outside so that there will be no change in the value of the equation. The factored form of n squared minus 60n plus 900 is the square of n minus 30. Since the vertex has coordinates 30 and 900, the maximum product is 900 when n is 30. Substitute 30 to n. 60 minus n, and that is 60 minus 30. So the other number is 30. 30 times 30 is 900. Therefore, the two numbers are both 30. You may assign values of n to get 60 minus n. If n is 20, then 60 minus n is 40. If n is 25, 60 minus n is 35. If n is 30, 60 minus n is 30. If n is 35, 60 minus n is 25. And if n is 40, 60 minus n is 20. It's the 30 times 30 that will give us the maximum product, and that is 900. Example number 6. The difference of two numbers is 10. What are the numbers that will give a minimum product? Let one number be n and the other number be n plus 10, because n plus 10 minus n is equal to 10. If p at n is the product of the two numbers, then p at n is equal to n times the quantity n plus 10. Distribute n times n squared, n times 10, 10n. To make n squared plus 10n a perfect square trinomial, add the square of half of 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5, and the square of 5 is 25. Adding 25 inside the parenthesis is like adding 25 to the equation. So we need to subtract 25 from it so that the value of the function still remains. Since the vertex is negative 5, negative 25, the minimum product is negative 25 when n is negative 5. Therefore, the two numbers are 5 and negative 5. To check, substitute negative 5. Negative 5 plus 10 is 5, and 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. You may also check by assigning values of n to get n plus 10. If n is negative 3, negative 3 plus 10 is 7. 7 times negative 3 is negative 21. If n is negative 4, negative 4 plus 10 is 6. And 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. If n is negative 5, negative 5 plus 10 is 5. And 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. If n is negative 6, negative 6 plus 10 is positive 4. 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. So it is negative 5 and 5 that will give us the minimum product, which is negative 25. Thank you.